Hey guys, Justin Nelson here with the Icon Podcast once again. And today we have Danny with us, and I am super excited. We're recording this on Labor Day, so you can tell that neither of us stop working 24/7. So, Danny, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks, Justin. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely, man. Well, I've heard a lot of things about you. I don't personally know you that well, other than what we were just talking offline and what I've heard about you from some of my colleagues at EXP that kind of rave about what you're doing out in your market. So I would love, man, just to pick your brain and kind of start off by you just kind of introducing yourself to our audience and, where you're located and kind of what your real estate careers look like so far.
Yeah, perfect, man. It's exciting. So you already introduced myself, but my name's Dan Duvall out of Youngstown, Ohio. Not too many people know of Youngstown, but most of the time people think, Youngstown Mafia. I mean, that's where we're really known. We're that middle point between Chicago and New York City. So this used to be a stomping ground for the Mafia. But, I've been an agent with EXP for I'm going on my third year now. Reach icon status twice. Reached it probably about 2 months ago, and I haven't turned back. I've been doing it for I'm going on my 8th or 9th year. You lose track. I don't even know how old I am anymore, but it's all about real estate. But that's a little bit about me.
I love it, man. I love it. So let's just kind of dive into the history here. So a lot of people listening to this right now want to learn a little bit more about your icon journey, what that means. But before we kind of dive into that, like, what has your journey been in the real estate realm? Like, you've only been at EXP for a few years. Like, where were you at before that? And what was kind of your quick elevator pitch on how you got introduced to EXP?
For sure, man. So when I first started, I started doing the classes and whatnot when I was 19 years old. I was playing college football, and then I also was going to school at the same time. Decided, honestly, I think I'm better than the world. So I just said, I don't need college. Basically dropped out and just started doing real estate. My first year, I sold 4 houses. I was working with this, it was called Northwood Realty. Now it's Berkshire. I started with them and I sold 4 houses, and I'm like, how do you make a living selling real estate? But also I was 20 years old. So I didn't really know the business a whole lot. I didn't even know what I was doing as far as documents, signing, contracts and whatnot, explaining it to people. And I don't even understand it. But I realized, I soon realized after only selling 4 houses, I went back to school. I got my degree in marketing management and entrepreneurship, ended up going back into real estate, worked for Remax for about a year or two. I actually oversaw a team where we grew the team from only having about 2 agents. We did about 125. Well, they did 125 before me. I became team lead. And then we sold 350 houses. I sold 104 of those myself before I realized there got to be a better model. And I was looking at all these franchises, and I'm like, man, I want to become a broker. I'm young. I can probably get the younger generation. The average age of realtors in my in my area was 55 years old. I'm like, how are they staying up to date with all this technology, especially with it advancing? And I came across EXP Realty, and there was this one guy that actually was my neighbor growing up. He worked for me at the team. He left after like a month, and he's like, oh, there's this company that's so much better. So I'm like, all right, well, pitch it to me. What is EXP? And he started explaining all this stuff, and I'm like, well, it almost checks off all the lists. I'm like, I don't care. Let's just try it, And I did research. I reached out to some agents, and everybody was like raving about it. I'm like, well, I'm like there's only one agent, which is the guy that was kind of getting me on board. And I'm like, all right, well, so be it. So I went to EXP, and I realized instantly how my life changed. I went from, being on this team lead at Remax to basically running my entire business and allowing me to brand the business that I wanted to brand. And I realized, like, I don't need to be a broker. It's just like, why spend all that money and do all that when I have all the resources I need to have a successful business with this model? And once I started getting my clients, and people still ask me to this day, what does EXP stand for? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know. I'm like, at the end of the day, when you call Howard Hanna, Berkshire, or, Caldwell Banker, are you calling that broker because you want that brokerage helping you buy and sell real estate? No, you're calling the individual. So Dan Duvall is the person that you should only have to worry about. But as an agent standpoint, with the CRM system, with all the technology that you get at the EXP, there's no brokerage that can compete with this model. And especially, when we talk about EXP icon status, no business is gonna, or no brokerage is gonna give you company stock.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have revenue share, and there's just a wide variety of things that just really make sense in this model. And since I've been with EXP, last year I think, I might be wrong in my numbers, so don't judge me on this.
Yeah.
I think I did 87
Okay.
last year. I did about 12 million because I had a couple for sale by owners and stuff.
Mhm.
And then this year, I mean, honestly, Justin, it's unbelievable. I couldn't even tell you what my numbers are. I do know I'm close to 70, and we're only in September. I have 24 under contract right now. I have six active listings, one commercial listing, and I'm hoping to exceed over that 120 by the end of the year.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you obviously, we didn't even talk about this. Your and I's background are actually identical. I actually played college football at 19, dropped out with a real estate license as well, same year.
Yeah.
So really funny.
Are you my brother?
What's that? Yeah, I
Are you my
know.
brother? What?
Exactly. Pretty damn close. I ended up taking over a team lead as well a
Yeah.
year later, and ended up growing it by about 100%, as just like you did. So that's really
Wow.
funny that we have such similar backgrounds in that standpoint. And
For sure.
so
For
you
sure.
have no shortage of real estate experience now, seeing different models, different companies, different ways to do things, solo agents, teams. And so when you were looking at EXP, you kind of knew what you wanted, what you didn't like, what you liked.
Yeah.
And EXP has so much to offer. It can sometimes be a little overwhelming to people. And, I know there's a lot of things when I joined EXP. I didn't even know what the Icon Award was when I joined EXP. And
Yeah.
so, like, even outside of the Icon, like, what was it for you that you were like, EXP is the model for me? Even if it was just like one, like, what was the main thing? Was it finances? Was it a certain system they had? Or what was kind of your, like, I'm making the jump?
So there's two things really. Well, actually, I like three. Or I'd go off three.
Okay.
One is everybody's financially driven.
Yeah.
If you tell me you're not financially driven, you're lying to yourself. You're lying to the people that you're talking to, because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, we do need money to survive. And to get a higher commission right off the start at 80/20, and then, once you get to 100%, it's just like a game changer. Like, I bought my dream house this year. Like, I was like, wow, I can't believe I just bought my dream house and I'm only 27 years old. Like, what? Like, that's crazy. So financially, the commission was one. Two was the technology. I go back to the technology. The CRM system, KV Core, is actually a really effective model. Now, don't get me wrong. It's really difficult to understand it at first, and it's very intimidating because there's so much involved. But, we live in a day and age where people put YouTube videos online. You can literally, EXP agents and other agents too that actually utilize KV Core, do step-by-step tutorials.
Yep.
And why would you need to do anything else when I could sit there, watch a video, pause it, go to the KV Core,
Yep.
put my own little thing to it, and then all of a sudden, now it's just as effective. And I never had that at any other brokerage. And then three, the third one was, I like the fact that I was able to run my business. Because you can see, like, if you go to any, I like watching, or I like doing research.
Yep.
So I look at all these different other EXP agents and how they brand themselves. And like, EXP, like, really wants you to run your own business. They want the name to be out there, but at the same time, they want the individual to strive on succeeding with that name backing it.
Yep.
And EXP backed it all the way. And, I went from, like I said, 4 houses in my first year to selling, over 100 houses. Now it's just like, wow, like, everybody's like, man, Dan, you're killing it. And how'd you get so big? And I'm like, well, you know what? EXP allowed me to do what I need to do to run a successful business. And it just made sense.
I love that, man. I love that. So you kind of, it sounds like everything that you thought was true, at least
It
on those
was.
big pieces, was true. Now, was there anything that you kind of like didn't, like you knew about, but you didn't really care about, that's now kind of been like, holy cow, I didn't even realize that this was such a big part of EXP now that you've been here for a few years?
Yeah. There's two things. EXP World, I think people underrate, or I don't know. I think they underutilize EXP World. And granted, like, I love having, that software system, just go in there and just go and just see all these people do classes, get all these, I've had questions, people are helping me. It's like, they're always available too. And if I had a question, like, they're there. And like, I didn't care about showing up to an office meeting or going to a brokerage at a brick and mortar location to get help. I go in the EXP World, I'm talking to some random person and they answer my question and it's done. And like, when you're dealing with real estate, like, I don't have time to sit down, talk to you about what you're doing. I don't want to be rude to say, oh, how's the family? How's this?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm in the office for 2-3 hours and I have 10, 20 missed calls, text messages. I'm like, oh man, I just went behind or fell behind. I don't want to fall behind. So EXP World, I think, was underutilized. Um, I I think that was,
I
oh,
love
and then the icon status. I go
it.
back to the icon. I
Yep.
never realized, uh, I'm a numbers guy, but
Mhm.
I don't really dabble in the stock market. I don't really do a whole lot. I have a financial advisor that does amazing things. I give them, 30, 40,000 a year and say, hey, can I just retire at 50? I would love to retire.
Yeah.
And, I throw money that way. And then I see these stocks, and like when I got my stocks, I mean, it was like $9 a share.
Yeah.
And now we're at, like, I know it dropped down. It was like 44, I think the top. Now it's down to like 42 or 41. I haven't looked at it, but what? Like, that's insane. And I don't
Yeah.
see it dropping much more from that. As we continue to grow and go into other countries, like the stock's only going to increase. And like these investors, that like spending money in the stock market, like if you're in real estate, like if you like real estate, you're gonna go to a model like that because it's only growth from here on out.
Yeah.
Eventually, a plateau, but it's still a consistent business model. And I mean, I think give it 10 more years and it's going to be like EXP's number one. I honestly believe that.
No, I love that, man. I love that. So you kind of talk about the icon status. So for those that are listening and have listened to
Yeah,
many episodes, they know what the
for
icon
sure.
status is, but you might be
Yeah.
sharing this with some people that are might be first time listeners today. They're like, what's he talking about, this icon status? So can you kind of give us an elevator version of what the icon status is and kind of give us an example of one of the years you iconed and kind of what EXP gave you and probably even how much financial benefit you've gained since that being given?
Yeah. It's elevated me. That's what it has done. Icon status is pretty simple. I mean, it's like when you maximize in with the XP, you become an icon, which that means that once you reach your 80,000 gross commission, which is a $16,000 cap, you actually get rewarded that $16,000 back in company stock. There's a couple of little minor things. You have to get like 10 more transactions after you get to from the 80/20 to 100%, when you reach that $16,000 cap. But once you become the icon status, you get rewarded company stock back. So after 3 years, I mean, you're completely vested and you can do whatever you want. And it's just amazing for a company to provide that because, again, we go back to the model of people aren't just going to give you, like brokers, they want money. Brokerages want money. They want you to produce so they have money for themselves. Well, when you are working your tail off, you reach that cap, you're making 100%, and all of a sudden you're getting that money back eventually. It's like, holy cow, like there's no reason to say no to that.
Yeah.
And the status really elevates your business model, and you get a nice little plaque, and you get to go to all these different meetings and or different
Mhm.
events. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. So basically, in a nutshell, you sell so many homes, in your market, you got to sell your cap plus some homes, which can obviously change depending on when someone's listening to this. So we'll have all the
Yeah.
icon stats below. But basically, usually, if someone's selling 30 plus homes a year, they're
Yep.
going to icon 40 maybe in your market, depending on your price point,
Yeah.
and the company will pay them their money back. So when the company paid you money back in stock, like the first year you icon, do you know roughly how much the stock was worth when they gave you your icon status?
I believe like I said earlier, I think it was like $8 or $9 a share.
So
And then recently it was only like 21,
yeah,
which is still amazing.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm like, wow, like now 42, like it's insane, man. And I'm excited to see what happens for the future because the more we're producing as agents and we're getting that money back, guys, that's setting yourself up for the future.
Mhm.
Continue to hold on to this because it is going to grow. If you want to get rid of it, get rid of it. Like it's yours. It's your money to do whatever you want to do with it.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. I love that. So you're obviously, one of the younger guys like myself in the EXP world. Like,
Yeah.
what would you tell other, especially the younger crowd that's listening right now that might be being told like, hey, you need to go to this brokerage because they have training, or you need to do this and join a team. Like, what
Yeah.
opportunities have you seen for those like us that have grown up with technology and really embrace it, that EXP has to offer, especially them that might be kind of a tech-driven mind?
I think in our market now, I'm only speaking on behalf of the Youngstown, Northeast Ohio area. But I think that you have to see that there is so much more opportunity available for you as an individual agent. Whether you decide to start a real estate career, you have the training, you have everybody to back you up. And if you join EXP, contact me first.
Yep.
I would be able to explain everything to you, the process. And then when you join, like I will be your mentor as well. And when you get into a bind, like I'm here for support. And that's what I tell these agents. Now, if you're an experienced agent, sit down with me and just let's run the numbers. let me see what your production was last year with your current company and your current split and what else they provided or what other fees they charged you. And then compare it to EXP and those kind of fees. And I have nothing to hide. I can print out everything that I've ever spent and you can look at it and be like, wow, like this makes sense. Like no wonder why you're doing so well because I'm getting my money, higher split, making more money. So now I can put more money back in my business.
Yeah, no, I love that, man. And so, you guys are obviously a little bit of a smaller market. I mean, you're a bigger
We
market
are.
compared to some, but you're a smaller market compared to a lot of people that are listening. Like, what was it like joining EXP in a market that probably didn't have like an overabundance of EXP agents already there?
Well, like I said, this guy got me. He was on my team, and then he was working up in Cleveland. He was driving an hour and 15 minutes up to
Okay.
Cleveland, and because he went on a team.
Okay.
Well, then he switched brokerages because he got a management position. He really needed something a little bit more stable for like a salary. Like he was an
Yep.
office manager, so he felt that was a better thing. So now it's just me. I was this lone wolf working with the XP,
Okay.
and now we have I think 7 or 8 agents in our market, and it's slowly growing. But when you're a producing agent, it's like it's hard to reach out to agents. But when I first joined, everybody's like, Danny, what are you doing? I
Yeah.
had Berkshire calling me, Howard Hanna, Keller Williams. They're all calling me and they're like, Dan, we want you. We know what you did with this other team. We know what you have potential, and you have this niche of millennials and first time home buyers. Well, they know those brokerages, they know the path.
Yeah.
If you start off and you have those first time home buyers, it's a domino effect, Justin. And you
Mhm.
know how it is. You're the
Yep.
same, basically the
Of
same
course.
age. It's literally a domino effect where these people are buying houses for their starter home for 3 to 5 years, 6 years. Some people last a little bit longer, but they're eventually going to sell because their families are growing. So as they're growing, I'm growing with them. They're telling their friends and families, and it's a revolving door, and it's just amazing on being able to be a part of that process and to have those kind of clients to work with.
I love that. I love that. So, well, what is your plans for the future? I know a lot of people listening here are like, wow, he's got a lot of deals going on. Like, are
Yeah.
you staying a solo agent? Are you going to build a team? Or like, what are your future plans within the EXP world?
I think my whole thing is I strive on serving the clients,
Mhm.
serving the people. I always say for the people. It really is. And I think as an individual agent, I can only handle so much business.
Mhm.
I do have 2 showing assistants that help me. I have a transaction coordinator. I have the team kind of model set up where I'm sending leads out to. But I'm not just hands off, I'm really hands on. These
Yeah.
clients that my team members are talking to or my showing assistants are talking to, I'm showing up, I'm meeting them, I'm showing up at closings, and they know who I am. And the business model right now for us, it's at the beginning stage. But like I said, I want to continue to serve clients. I will probably have more team members join.
Mhm.
I'll probably go from, being like a dual agent going just to strictly being like a listing agent, and eventually just sit back and just really help, other agents build their businesses off my business model, and eventually hopefully sit back and just enjoy and help as many people and agents as I can in the future and be retired at 50, I hope.
I love that. I love that. So, for someone, we're obviously sitting here on Labor Day recording this. So, you and I
Yeah.
both work a lot of hours and different things like that. So what advice or, like, what do you do to kind of reset, resettle and kind of, make sure that you don't burn out? That's a question I like to ask a lot of icon agents because, obviously in the top 2%, you're
Yeah.
usually not working only a few hours a week. So how do you reset and kind of make sure that you don't burn out and you're able to keep up that energy and high level of service?
Lots of coffee, man. No, it's one of those things where you do have to shut down sometimes. My wife would probably disagree because I'm always on my phone and always doing something, but like, you really have to keep your professional life and
Yeah.
your social life together. If you just keep striving on your business life, you're gonna lose what you're trying to do. Especially in my model, where I'm trying to serve my friends and other people that I know personally. And family comes everything. I mean, it comes first before anything. I have 11-month-old son, so my wife is stay-at-home mom. She's
Yeah.
helping them out or helping him out, and it's really nice because you can focus on work more, but now you have that much more weight on your shoulders to strive to be make as much money as you can. But like we go back to it is that if you get to that point, you definitely need to have other people to help you. You have to be trusting with your business because eventually you will burn out. And the thing is just keep with the process. Don't fall behind. If you need help, write down the stuff that you're not doing well in, and give those duties to somebody else. There's things that are real easy. Skyslope with EXP is unbelievable. I mean, I can just, in dot loop, literally, I can just put somebody, add them on my team, and then all of a sudden they're putting all my stuff in SkySlope. Well, that's one thing that eases, the pressure off me a little bit. So it's just kind of implementing different things to help your business kind of grow for the future, and to, be a little bit of hands off on the office administration stuff, but at the same time still serving everybody, especially your clients, but your family and friends as well.
I love that. I love that, man. So as we kind of wrap up here, one of the last questions I ask
For
on
sure.
kind of that same subject is, you obviously got courted by a lot of different companies when you were starting to look for different companies. So a lot of people listening now may be going, hey, I'm thinking about joining EXP, or maybe even a different brokerage, right? And they've been at one place for a long time. They might have a little ego to them where they're like, you know what? I'm not willing to look at a model because I'm like, I know what I want. Like, so what would you tell someone like that? Like, what was like a little like mindset that you went through? Like, what made you, did you look at multiple brokerages when you made a move?
I did.
What would you tell that person that's like starting to go, should I make a move or not?
You know what? It's so hard to try to lead somebody in a direction that they're not really wanting to move forward or take the step forward. In my case was, I tell people, and I'm not a pushy agent at all. Even you can ask clients. I've never pushed anybody to buy or sell a house. I just strictly said what I thought, and it just worked out. It's being trustworthy. But I think that we have so many resources available. I think everybody should be a numbers person. Statistically, look at all the top 1 and 2 agents. I mean, isn't it like 40 states that number 1 and 2 agent has switched over to EXP?
It's a really high number. That's all.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was 38 at one point, but now it's 40. But at the same time, like as EXP continues to grow, you're missing out on opportunity. The more, if you don't join now, then the future, you could be too far behind. Not to say that you're going to be successful if you join later on, but EXP is at this point in its stage of real estate where you can strive to be who you want to be, what kind of business you want to run. You can meet with every brokerage. But meet with me, meet with another agent in the area. I call agents to come down. Albie Stasic up in Cleveland is fantastic for that. He'll come down, do like luncheons, and just show people that, guys, don't be discouraged because you don't like your broker or your brokerage that you're working at. You can join this model, and why not try? Try with a new company like we strive on, Justin, is Amazon, Netflix, all these companies were nothing at one point. And now they're everything. I mean, I order probably 3 packages a day from Amazon. I should start a cardboard company, or a box return or something, because I have a million boxes. But at the same time, I think take the chance, really sit down, meet with us. I'll show you everybody my business. I don't care. And I'll show you what I do. And if you can implement it in your business, like great, even if you're with another brokerage. But I think join EXP because, the future is here, and EXP is the future.
I love that. I love that. So for all of you guys listening, if you like Dan's energy, if you're in his area, and honestly, if you're not even in his area and you just love what he's got doing, Dan, kind of talk to me. Can people align with you, and what does that look like? For obviously you mentioned earlier, great mentorship that you can provide. I mean, a lot of people think, well, I'm not in Dan's local market. So like, what does mentorship look like for you, even in agents and other markets that may want to align with you?
Guys, it doesn't matter. This is why EXP is a successful business. We strive off, networking across the world. I'm always available for a phone call or a text or even a Facebook message. Drop in my DMs. Do whatever you need to do. Don't be afraid to reach out to me at any time because, I am a phone call. Like I said, I'm literally any platform away that you can reach out to me. And if I can help you in the future or grow a business, let's do it. Let's do it together. I mean, that's what it's about, team. And my phone number, I mean, if it's okay if I put my phone number out here, I mean, it's very simple. It's 330-883-0040. Whenever you guys have any questions, just reach out, man. I'll be more than happy to kind of, discuss anything. And don't be afraid to ask questions because I'm not afraid to answer anything.
I love that. I love that. So if you guys are looking for someone to partner with at EXP and you love his energy or in his local market or any of the above, feel free. We'll have all his contact information down below. Now, for us that are unfamiliar with the Ohio area, just to kind of revisit what you said earlier, what area are you mostly serving in Ohio that we can obviously send referrals to?
So I'm in the Youngstown, Ohio area. I serve about 3 to 4 counties. My main 3 are Trumbull, Mahoney, and Columbiana County, but I also do some in Portage County. but ideally I like the other 3 counties. I'll travel, but it has to be worth it.
Yeah.
No, I'll travel anywhere. If I can help a client of yours, like, please, I will. I've helped a lot of other agents, with that. I mean, honestly, if you're looking for a really cheap place to live, that's really nice. I mean, if you want to buy a $1 million home, come to Youngstown. I can sell it to you for 250,000.
I love it. I love it, man. Well, I really appreciate it. I know you got the wife and the kid, and it's
For
Labor Day.
sure.
I really appreciate your time, and I want to respect that. But man, I really appreciate it. I know there's going to be a lot of people that reach out to you after to this. And, if you guys are selling any amount of homes, whether it's 1 home, 2 homes, Danny can provide you great mentorship on that side. And
For sure.
also from the side of, you're selling quite a few homes, definitely pick his brain on how the company can basically pay you plus some to be at the company. So man, I really appreciate you jumping on with us today.
Hey, I appreciate it too, Justin. I'm glad you reached out, and hopefully we can do something in the future.
Absolutely, man. Well, with that being said, guys, until next time, as always, signing off from the Icon Podcast, and have a great rest of your week.